Boys and girls, let's talk about mastering and why it is the most useless part of every audio production. But seriously, I believe that recording and mixing are way more important than mastering, and that mastering is very often overrated. And I believe that there's nothing that you can do better in mastering compared to mixing. Let's talk about that. I think that the recording stage is actually the most important one, and that is because you have an influence on what is being recorded. In both ways. First of all, you can choose the equipment, you can choose the instruments, the guitar amps, the guitar cabs, the microphones, the placements of the mic. You can tune the drums, whatever. So that is very powerful. And second thing is, you have an influence on how the musicians play and how the singers sing. That means you can basically change everything. And sometimes even telling someone to play one octave higher in the chorus will make that part shine or will open up the song. So this is the most creative and most powerful stage of any production, if you ask me. Second stage, mixing. Again, very, very important because you are in control of every track. Not only the balance, the volume and the panning and that stuff. You can have one track really dry, or you can put it in a cathedral. You can distort it, you can EQ it, you can put compression on it, you can add crazy effects. That means by changing every track, you can make or break a song. You can shape the character of a song. Again, very powerful. And now let's talk about mastering. What do we have here? A stereo track. I mean, a little history of mastering. It used to be a technical thing. You know, you had to, bring one medium to another, from tape to vinyl. Or in my early days, you needed someone to turn your DAT cassette into a CDR and add the tracks for the CD and, add CD text and add ISRC codes. So mastering used to be more technical and less creative, which is totally fine and important. But these days, many people think mastering is the stage that will turn, in German we say, shit into gold, polish the turd, which it isn't, because a mastering engineer has a single track, a stereo track. And that means he can slightly sweeten it or shape it. He can add some technical corrections, which basically means some EQing, but that's not going to change the character of the mix. That's more a technical correction. And like I said in the beginning, I believe that the perfect mix doesn't need any mastering. But that is only a theory. But in the real world, we actually need mastering. Why? Because we want somebody coming from somewhere else with a different perspective looking at our work. After 50 revisions of the song, we might not be that objective anymore. And that somebody, that mastering engineer, might just hear the song once and immediately tell you, bop, bop, bop. Here are 3 problems. Have another look, have another listen. And that's why mastering can be important. But again, if I add more than 2 dB of EQ in a mastering, I prefer to go back to the mix and change it there. Why? Let's say something sounds boomy. In a mix, I can always go back to the source of that boominess. Might be the kick, might be the bass, might be the guitars, whatever. In a master, I can only, remove that frequency. And maybe the kick sounds better, but the bass sounds worse. So that's always a compromise. I don't do a lot of external mastering, but when I do external mastering, I always want to have stems. I want to do stem mastering, and that's what I'm doing today. Stem mastering means that I get, let's say, 5 to 8 tracks. Drums, guitars, keyboards, bass, vocals, and effects or something. That means I can do a lot more with those single stems. I can achieve a lot more without destroying a lot. And so I always ask people to send me stems. And that's what happened today, because I was just mastering a song for my buddy SCOTT ELLIOT from Chernobyl Studios. I'm sure you know him, because he just released a course which is called Mixing Extreme Metal or something like that. I think it's a 10 or 11 hour long course. So if you want to learn something about mixing extreme metal, there's a link in the description. Click it and you can see some teaser videos. Maybe that's something for you. I have nothing to do with the course. I was just mastering the final track he is mixing. And I want to show you what I did there. So Scott sent me the stems. I didn't change a lot because his mix sounded good. I just want to show you how I look at mastering, how I analyze a song, and what I actually do. And stem mastering can include both creative and technical decisions. So this is his mix here in red and blue. Have a listen. And this is my master. Okay, so this sounds a lot more powerful, but it's actually not a fair comparison because you see this one is much louder due to the limiting. So let's bring this one back, let's say around 3 dB and have another listen. I will switch from the mix to the master. So you see, the difference is much smaller. So when I listened to this, I thought, hey, this sounds pretty balanced. This is a good mix. Well done, Scott. What can I do to improve this? And there were 3 things that came to mind. First thing was, even if this is black metal-ish, I thought the guitars could sound a little warmer and fuller in the mids. They sound a little hollow. I'm not talking about big changes here. Second thing, I think this is in standard tuning, or at least it's not tuned very low. Perhaps we can add a little more real low end. And the third thing, because it has a black metal feel, I think we can add a little more space. So those were the 3 things that I wanted to change here. So have another listen. I will switch from the mix to the master and concentrate on the fullness and the mids of the guitars. You can hear the difference, right? That sounds a lot fuller. So let's see what I did here. It's mainly an EQ on the guitars. Let's have a look at the rhythm guitars. These are the rhythm guitars, soloed. And that sounds a little too brittle and too grindy for this kind of riffing, because they play a lot of open melodic stuff. And this is my EQ. Let's turn it on. So removing a spike here and then basically removing 4 dB almost around 3K. Then slightly removing some rumble and adding some low end. Let's turn it off again. I forgot to say, these are the tracks he sent me. We have the drums here, we have the bass, guitar, lead guitar, solo guitar, vocals, backing vocals, and then some keyboards. Let's go back here. Have a listen to the low end now. We start with a mix. So there's quite a lot more deep and clean low end there now. This is the bass he sent me. Sounds nice, huh? And this is my EQ. So I wanted even more grind and add a little low end here. This way the bass cuts through the mix a little better and has a little more low end. I'm sure you can hear that. But then I even added another track. This one here. Can you hear that? So this is basically just a distorted track copied with a high cut filter at 130 Hertz. Then R bass. What else? And then a lot of compression. And I'm mixing in this track for a little more clean low end. Let's turn it on and off. And the third thing I wanted to change is the overall atmosphere. I felt a black metal song like this could sound a little more atmospheric overall, and I added some reverb. So let's have a listen to the overall three-dimensional atmosphere. I will switch once again from the mix to the master. So again, right, it sounds more three-dimensional in a way. What did I do? So I added some reverb to the drums. Let me see. Sounds like this. The reverb is on the entire drum bus. It's a lot of reverb, but it makes things fly a little more. Same thing on the vocals. I added another vocal verb, you can see it here, which was altiverb. So it's a pretty long reverb. It's not loud, and the idea is you don't want to hear the reverb. It adds another dimension, and the whole drum kit seems to sound more natural and less like a bunch of tracks. What else? Some small EQ moves on all the tracks and some small volume changes, but everything within 1 dB. Then there's just some technical moves. I have an EQ on the master bus, removing some low end. This is only 1 dB. This looks a lot more, and this is only half a dB. So just some small moves here. I'm actually using ozone for limiting. You see another EQ here, an imager, slightly boosting the stereo wideness on the upper frequencies. And finally, a limiter. And that's all you have to do to make a good sounding mix sound even better. And as you can see, if you have stems, you can even change the character of the song or boost the character of the song. Let's call it boost the character of the song without destroying too much. So stem mastering is a lot cooler. And I forgot to say, one of you can win Scott Elliot's Mixing Extreme Metal course. Isn't that fantastic? All you have to do, as usual, is to subscribe to my email list and sell your soul to the devil. I will take care of it. No worries. And you should also write an email to socials@kohlekeller.de and tell me and Scott why you deserve that course. That will be funny. And Scott can pick one of you to win. All right, but let's have another final listen to the mix and the master. Remember, the master is volume compensated. In reality, it's a lot louder and will sound a lot bigger. Don't forget, you can get Scott's course if you follow the link in the description. Yeah, I'll be back with another real video. This was quick and dirty. Subscribe to this channel. Follow me on my socials. Ring the bell, ding dong. That's all for today. See you in hell, motherfuckers. Bye-bye.